Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm going to be testing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on the AMD Radeon RX 470 4GB for FPS monitoring. This time I won't be using cam due to BattleEye, the anti-cheat software this game uses, so in the meantime I'll be using MSI Afterburner. And if you want to purchase any of the parts of this build and support the channel, there are Amazon affiliate links down in the description. So PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I'll be doing 1080p, 900p, 720p and 1440p using both a G4560 and an i5 at 7400. To skip none of those sections of the video, check the description below. So first on the G4560 I'll show you 1080p using the same settings as the i5 section of the video, so you can have an idea of how stable it is on each processor. You'll see that on the i5 is much more stable, but that was to be expected. Then on the i5 section of the video, I'll test the rest of the resolutions, 1440p, 1080p, 900p, 720p, targeting both 60 and 30 frames per second. So I'll show you two configurations for each resolution, so you can have an idea on how the game runs. But I found it to be more unstable on AMD graphics cards, especially indoors. Indoors is kind of a mess. I had some graphical artifacts. You'll see that on the bottom left corner of the screen, like an orange triangle or something like that. Is weird. And the shadows had some graphical artifacts too, which I found unusual, so it seems to be something to do with AMD hardware and this game. But remember that this is unfinished, but I had to let you know about this. But now I'm going to talk to you about the options menu and what to tweak so you can get the best performance. So this game runs on Unreal Engine 4, but remember this game is in early access and a very early stage of development, so performance should improve and more features should be added. And in the options menu we got some options that I would like to talk about. All options go from very low to ultra. So first on aliasing, it seems to be TAA. Everything that's not ultra or very low looks terrible. I don't know what's going on with that. It looks fuzzier in medium than on very low. And the most graphically intensive things I found were FX. FX is a big hit to the frame rate. It seems to control the quality of some of the transparency effects, such as explosions and the reflections. For example, if you're close to a body of water, you'll see screen space reflections in some areas. If you turn this to low or very low, you get a great FPS boost in those moments. Shadows is also another one. If you use low or very low, there won't be dynamic shadows. All the dynamic shadows won't be there, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of shadows are missing, but there are still some every now and then. It's a big hit to the frame rate. And then others that you should lower in groups are post-processing and foliage. Foliage is the amount of foliage and its quality, and I'm not 100% sure about what post-processing does in this game, but I lowered it with foliage and I kept motion blur off on all instances. And for the textures, if you have a 2GB video card, I suggest using low. Every option over low, even at 720p, use more than 2 gigs of VRAM, so keep that in mind. If you have a 4GB card, you can use ultra just fine, but something to keep in mind. I tried a Pentium G4560 and an i5 7400 on all my videos, and I have to say, yes, the G4560 is a big limitation. The game stutters a lot more in the loading screens and when you're flying over the map with a plane, or just waiting on a lobby with all the 90 players punching each other or shooting each other. With i5 it happened much less, and on the open areas and cities and all that kind of stuff. The places I tested, so it was more CPU bound. The i5 7400 stutters much less than the G4560, and it was closer to 60 frames per second, but 60 frames per second all the time in this game seems impossible. I saw people with i7 6700K having issues getting 60 frames per second, even using a GTX 1070 or 1080. So it seems to be impossible right now to get 60 FPS all the time, but we can get very close with the i5 7400. With the G4560, it's way more unstable, so I suggest targeting 30 to 40 frames per second if possible, and the game will be better to play since it will be more consistent if you cap the frame rate at 40 or 30 with the G4560. People are talking awful things about the performance of this game. It's true, but it's not as bad as people say, at least not on my end. It's decent, but it's not unplayable. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.